Hello and welcome to my review of Morbius, the latest film from Sony's Spider-Verse. The film was directed by Daniel Espinosa and stars Jared Leto and Matt Smith. Jared Leto being the titular vampire, Dr. Michael Morbius, who injects himself with bat blood to try and cure an illness within him, but instead creates him into the monster that we all now know to be this movie. Now, going into this film, I was reading the tea leaves. It didn't seem like people were generally positive on the film, but I have enjoyed the two Venom films for what they were. They were fun, popcorn movies, and I was prepared to maybe have the same experience with Morbius. I did not have the same experience with Morbius. It felt like I was in an improv comedy club where everybody was so afraid to make a choice that they just sat there chugging go-gurts of fake blood for the 90 minutes runtime. There was so much apathy on screen. Nobody seemed to want to be there, and where sometimes people are like, they don't want to be there and they'll fake their way to it, kind of like a fake it till you make it type of mentality that we can see right through. Not the case with Morbius. Here, it's very clear that they don't want to be there, and they're not going to try and trick you to think otherwise. Nobody wants to be in this movie, and that's why sitting in this theater was deeply uncomfortable. There is no connection made between what's happening on screen and the audience. No emotional connection, no appreciation for any craft on display. Again, I was just flabbergasted with the fact that Sony would actually release this. I mean, there's no story, there's no themes, there's no real characters. I know less about the characters now than I did before the movie started. The structure is seemingly simple. It's your average superhero, first act, we set up what happens, the inciting incident is what gives them the powers, the second act they learn, and then the third act they're tested with the villain. It has that structure, yet it's somehow confusing. They take something that is so simple and so flaccid at this point, and also manage it to be convoluted. I don't know how you do that. The whole cast, they're just irrelevant in a way. They really don't have any impact on this film, and they're not really given anything to do. This feels almost like they were tasked to film a trailer, and they give you the beats that you want to see that will sustain 2 minutes, and then they just elongated it and kept it going, and there's nothing here. There's no substance. It's devoid of anything. And watching this movie is like looking at a reflection of a reflection. There's something there, but not really. It's like the Wonder Bread of the superhero genre. It's just flat. It's nothing. It just exists. When you get to the third act and this movie has some action and you're like, okay, well maybe in this movie, maybe at least the action will be okay. Not the case, because this is some of the worst Transformers level of I have no idea what's going on and where the camera is, action choreography that I've seen in a long time. Every discernible mode of filmmaking that you should employ to tell a good story, it's not even like they discarded it. It's like they don't even know that those modes of filmmaking exist. That's the type of craft that we're dealing with in Morbius. It feels like a placeholder. It feels like Sony, they're trying to build something that they just don't know how to cultivate organically. So you get to the end credit scenes, which I won't spoil in case anybody actually wants to go and enjoy this movie, even though that'll be a hard task if anything. But you get to the end credit scenes and you just watch that this is so cheap and so lazy, and Sony knows it. And that's another thing. You get the sense that Sony is aware of the shit on screen and they're still making you watch it. At least a lot of the other times, if something bad comes out or has a popular negative consensus, you at least can understand or discern where the filmmaker's coming from. That they at least have some sort of vision for it that just didn't work out. Fant Four Stick, I think, is a great example for this, where the first 2 acts before the studio took it over, which is very clear in the third act of that film, you can see what Josh Trank was trying to do, and it just didn't work out. Here, you can't even see that. I'm surprised a director is even credited. This is worse than Bohemian Rhapsody in terms of shuffling directors' visions. It feels like the craft service table just hit said action and the movies just started rolling. Ineptitude and incompetence is seen throughout, especially during moments in the script when you see what they were trying to build and you just realize, wait, that's what you were going? That's where you were leading? That's what you spent this time trying to develop? It's also very derivative. I mean, there is a moment that literally is just ripped out of the Dark Knight trilogy with bats flying around, Jared Leto, as a very similar score to the Dark Knight trilogy's music is played. I mean, it was just like the exact same frames. And then there's also a line that Jared Leto says where he says, "You wouldn't like me when I'm hungry," which of course is one of the best lines of Edward Norton's the original The Incredible Hulk from 2008. But it plays its cards so often to show you why it can't be one of those movies, and what those movies have that this one doesn't, which is a real care for the story, a real care for the characters, and actually representing the comic book well. I mean, the reason why those other films do well, and I'm not saying The Incredible Hulk is a masterpiece, but it definitely is one compared to this, is that they at least have some respect for its origin. You know, a lot of the reasons why these movies work is because they excite fans of this material and they build off of that passion by reminding them why they're passionate. In a way, they're rewarding the fans. And this kind of is the exact opposite. It makes you feel awful for ever supporting Sony's decisions away from Marvel. I kind of just want to ignore this movie ever came out. I mean, I'm just completely shocked at the quality of this film. I mean, it's not even a film. It doesn't feel like a film. It doesn't feel like a movie. And to be honest, I've seen a lot of superhero movies and a lot of comic book films. I think this actually might be the worst one I've ever seen. Because I look back at some of the other bad ones, you know, your Four Sticks, your X-Men Origins Wolverine, your Green Lanterns, your Suicide Squads, and there was something in each of those movies, at least one thing, one component that was close to working or was at least somewhat enjoyable. You know, there was something there, and here it's nothing. So that's my review of Morbius. Please tell me that you did not go see this movie, but if you did, what are your thoughts? Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any new videos from Spoilers Ahead with Anthony Post. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you at the movies.